All right, troops, welcome to the Action Elite. My name is Owen. So tonight we're going to be celebrating 30 years of The Crow, which before somebody comments, yes, I know technically it was May, but we feel like doing it tonight, so shut up. So anyway, before we continue, I will bring in the squad. So first up, we have Charlie, who's not last this time. All right.
I'm not last. It's amazing.
And we got John. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
And we've got Sean.
Hey.
How are you? And J-Man. Hello.
Hey.
And Stephen. Hello there.
Hello.
And I go to the top no matter when you introduce me because I'm an admin. That's the admin privilege. It goes right. I go right to the top.
Because being a part of this square is a treasure. So
exactly, yeah, it's an honor for all involved. Wow, there's 8 people viewing. Hello to the 8 people viewing.
Yay!
Yeah.
And thanks for watching. I'm sure Adam is one of them because he said he was going to, and I'm sure Ronnie is as well. So hey guys, thank you for watching. So tonight we're going to be talking about The Crow. Now I remember I was on vacation in 1994. I was in Derry with my family visiting my cousins. And me and my cousin Patrick did a double bill. And we saw Maverick and The Crow in one day. So the Mel Gibson Maverick and then that. Yeah. That's a hell of a day.
Yeah.
So that was a great double bill. And then when I got back to Glasgow, then I went to see The Crow again, and I had the poster on my wall and all that, and I just totally fell in love with it. And I don't want to put spoilers, but yes, it is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it is my favorite comic book adaptation of all time. And I showed guys before I went online there, if you can see it, it's my signed Crow artwork by James O'Barr, who I interviewed a couple of years ago. He was the creator of The Crow, and he was awesome. So yeah, I mean, people sometimes, I remember John, you mentioned before how that guy said people only like this movie because Brandon Lee died making it, which is pretty much the most idiotic thing I've ever heard.
He said, yeah, I'm paraphrasing, but I deleted him. But he said something in regards to like the only reason why we still talk about this movie is because Brandon Lee was killed making it. And I was just like, you sir are out of here.
Yeah, you sir are a dick. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So Adam, 4 out of 5. Why not 5? What the hell? It's a 5. So, yeah. I mean, yes, it is. As Sean said earlier, it's the most 90s film. It is very 90s in terms of like the grunge music and everything. But I love it. Like the visuals, I love. When I watched it again last night, I hadn't actually watched it for like a year or two, and I just forgot what a gorgeous looking film it is, and just how I think underappreciated the villains are in this movie. They're such dirty scum. Like you just hate them, and they feel so real. They just feel like a bunch of just junkies. And do you know the guy who played Funboy actually died a few years ago?
Yeah, his life was miserable afterwards. Yeah. He never, because he's the one that fired the gun that kicked that. He never got over. Well, of course, how could you? But yeah, he never got over that. Michael Macy was his name.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, is Steve? Okay, so is Steve gone or is he coming back? No. Oh.
I've messaged him privately. He's back.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Guys, my camera died on me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, you're still there anyway, so we will continue on anyway. So yeah, you got oh fuck, I've forgotten his name. David Michael Patrick. What's his name? The guy from the Warriors.
David Patrick Kelly.
Yeah. David Patrick Kelly. I knew that was it. Yeah, David Patrick Kelly. Yeah, from the Warriors. This is why I need to take notes. But I love him in this movie. Just all of them are so scary. They just feel like genuinely. They're almost like villains from like a Death Wish movie or like a 70s exploitation movie. They have that just kind of feel. You got the whole like assault scene and everything. And as much as I hate it, that's the best way of doing it, where it's implied and you don't see what's happening, but you know what's happening without having to be graphic. But yeah, no, I mean, I love the music. I particularly love Graham Revell's score, which is just like achingly sad. It's a beautiful score, and I feel like it doesn't get enough credit. So yeah, and then of course it Can't Rain All the Time, which is brilliant. And the fact that Brandon sadly passed away making it, though, it does add an extra thing to the movie, though, because it adds that extra heart to it. I mean, by the end, I mean, I'm always sort of like, flapping lip at the top, trying not to cry.
Yeah, I know, right? And then when they put for Brandon and Eliza on, and you're just like, and it's just dark. It just goes dark, you know, and it's like that's all you need to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
I like how they put his fiance. I think she was his fiance at the time. I like how they put her name too because
yeah,
Right.
nice, yeah. So right, that's all I'm going to say about it. I've talked enough shite, so I'm going to let you guys talk. So, Sean, when were you first introduced to The Crow? Did you see it in the cinema, and what do you think of it?
I didn't see it in the cinema. Fun fact: this movie was rated R in Ontario, and that's remarkable because in Ontario we're very lenient. So, something irked them, and it was rated R. I was 16. I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it on VHS like a year later. I wasn't even of age to watch it. But it's like mom and pop video stores didn't care. And leading up to it, like I used to read Wizard magazine because I was a comic guy, and they were hyping it up and stuff, and I didn't know about the story behind it and all that. So I ran out and I couldn't find it for this stream, but I got the trade paperback at the time for The Crow, and it's beautiful. It's black and white. It was a like an indie comic, but great art, and it's fairly basic. I mean, I think the movie fleshes out a few things, but this is one of the most perfect comic adaptations. And I learned about the tragedy behind The Crow, that James O'Barr's fiance was killed by a drunk driver, and he, in his grief, he made The Crow. And it's probably one of the best, one of the most successful indie comics. Like, it's like Ninja Turtles is of course high up there, but but I mean, it's super influential after this movie. I mean, Sting based his whole thing on The Crow after that, right?
Yeah.
So, no, I saw it on VHS. Is awesome. At the time, I was like, yeah, it's gritty and stuff, and I watch it now. I was like, yeah, this is like you couldn't get away with a lot of this now. It's pretty awesome, but it's pretty honest too. It's like that's how these assholes would act, And I saw the second movie in theater because I could watch it, and I hadn't seen the other ones. I saw a bit of the show. It was okay. It's not as it was a little goofy at times, which I didn't appreciate.
Yeah, it's very different. Didn't have the gothic tone to it or whatever.
Yeah,
it looked like a Canadian TV show.
I think it needs to be nasty. I mean, I think any Crow story needs to be, nasty and ill-tempered and everything. I think this is awesome. I don't appreciate that the franchise has sort of waned in recent years. Is like Hollywood doesn't know what to do with it, but Hollywood wouldn't know what to do with it now. We have this like almost perfect movie here, so and I said this is the most 1990s movie, not just because of the grunge stuff, but also like all the color and everything, and the way everything's trying to look all gothic and stuff with the shadows and everything. It has that look and feel to it. Like I'm not degrading it or anything.
No, I know.
Yeah, you don't make movies like this anymore, and it looks like a comic book come to life, right? So
it does.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're still doing that remake, and I'm like, why are you doing another one? Nobody cares, and nobody wants it. That's the thing. It's like, is it Bill Skarsgård? Is he?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's still the one.
Yeah, and I'm like, Pennywise. I'm like, are we supposed to sympathize with this guy? Like, I don't know.
Well, it's unfortunate we think of him as that because I don't think Pennywise. I think of Tim Curry's Pennywise.
Yeah,
and I've never seen those new It movies, so I don't think of him as anything.
I think their thought process was going back to more of the comic that Sean's talking about because he's very slender, lanky.
Yeah.
He's not Brandon Lee, which is one of the most Brandon Lee movies there are. There's no kung fu hardly. Even what little tiny bit he does it's what anyone could do, if you have superpowers.
Yeah, he's just a guy in it. Like that's the thing. This movie was the introduction of Brandon Lee, actor, not just martial arts star, and this is like his best ever performance. And it's such a shame because I think he could have become like one of the all-time great movie stars, and it's such a shame that we only have that.
He would have done more genres. He would have done everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so but was not meant to be, sadly.
Nope.
Anyway, John, when were you? Did you see it in the cinema? And
I did. I got to see this opening weekend. Like but that time, I was going to movies left and right, and I got to see this up on the big screen, and it just, and plus, I remember when I heard he died because I was teaching martial arts at the time, and a bunch of us instructors were hanging out in the back, and because one of the other instructors had started class, so we were just kind of waiting, to break up the class and start teaching. And one of the other instructors came up. He was like, "Hey, did you hear?" We're like, "No, what?" He's like, "Brandon Lee's dead." And we're like, "Shut up!" Like, that's not funny, and stuff like that. He's like, "No, I'm serious." We're just like, and then sure enough, I went home that night and I was like, "Motherfucker!" I'm like, that was like the worst. Like, I mean, because he was just getting started, and Rapid Fire had just come out a little while ago, but yeah, The Crow, it's like I watched it yesterday again, and I had not seen it in a little bit. I mean, it's probably been like, I'd say probably at least a year since I watched it. But I try to watch it as much as I can. But it's you can't say any movie's perfect, I guess, because somebody will always say something about a movie. But I was watching, and I just like the visual, like when the crow's flying through the city, and some people can kind of pick it apart and say, yeah, you can tell this is like dated 90s visuals. But I think it makes it look like the graphic novel come to like how they made it look and everything. And Brandon Lee, I'll tell you what, he just threw himself into this role. He was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna freaking do it. And he's crazy in it. And just like the scene where, with the one mom, he's like, "Mother is the name for God on the lips and hearts of children." I mean, just like the lines and stuff like that. Or when
somebody slagged that off, that's one of the criticisms said, is I hated that, it was so heavy-handed, and I was like, you're a fucking idiot, and you have no understanding of what that's in there.
Or like when Ernie Hudson, who again, Ernie Hudson's freaking great, and he's like, don't move, you're dead. He's like, and I say I'm dead, and I move, and he's just like, or at the end, like I love the end battle scene, like where he comes up and he just sits cross-legged on the table, and he's like, now I seen you made your decision. Now enforce it. He just raises up his arms, and it strikes me as odd. It's like how many blanks were shot at him in that scene alone.
Yeah.
And then it was just like one shot in another scene. But going back to that scene, the rock music's blaring, and then he's like, "You're all gonna die," and I'm like, this is like the best scene ever. And he's just like, oh, I can't. Like I said, I can't say anything bad about this movie. It's just it's and then Michael Wincott, he's disgusting, but he's like this calm, cool, collected psychopath,
But he's funny at the same time.
Yes.
He has the best line in the film.
Yeah.
Maybe we should videotape this and play it back later in slow motion.
Yeah, he's like he's quick impression, quah, quah, boom, I'm dead, or fuck, I'm dead, or something like that. I'm just like, but Brandon, like I said, this is how you knew Brandon Lee was going to be a star. Not that he wasn't good in Rapid Fire or even Showdown in Little Tokyo. He was great at working with Dolph Lundgren, but this showed that he was going to transcend action and martial arts and do comedy and drama. Like the sky was the limit with this guy, and just unfortunately one careless accident, which again we've seen recently again, where it's ugly head. It's just I've never gotten over it. And every time his birthday comes up or the anniversary of his death comes up, you're just like you kind of slouch in your chair a little bit, and you're just like, yep, what could have been.
Yeah, that scene, I think it was Adam said in the comments there a minute ago, where it does have a sort of John Woo feel, and that the shooter scene, he's got the double gunplay and the long coat, and so cool.
I love the scene, the camera angle, like the camera angle looks up at him and he crosses his arms with the guns, and it's shadows and black, but you can tell he's firing the guns, and it's like. And him and Jeff Amata did the fight choreography and the action choreography, which you can see Jeff Amata in that one scene, the same scene where he's like shooting his way through everybody. But and he did a little bit of kung fu. He did a little bit, it was there. He threw it in there. He did the kip up, where he kicks his legs up and everything. And then when he's fighting Michael Wincott, he does a little bit of it. So he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna throw some in there. We'll do it." So that was pretty cool. But this wasn't a martial arts action movie. It was a comic book adaptation. And like I said, I'm sitting there watching the movie, and I'm like trying to find something to say negative about this movie. And like I said, how it just opens, there's no like flamboyant opening. It's just the Crow, and then it goes into the movie, and then at the end, and the haunting. You were talking about Grand Revel and that haunting music that they play, at the end, and even Sarah, the actress who plays Sarah, her voiceover is perfect.
She could have been an annoying kid, and she wasn't.
Yes,
she was great.
no, and they made
Right.
her genuine, and you cared about her, and you felt sorry because her mom was a scumbag at first. Her mom turns it around after he
Yeah.
gets his hands on her. But
Darla.
yeah, Darla, and but they were her family, and they got ripped away from her. So and then she had Ernie Hudson, who was kind of looking out for him. Albright the cop. But yeah, she could have been a throwaway character, but no. She sold it too, and at the end she's talking, and then we were talking about this off camera, and then it just fades to black, and you see for Brandon and Eliza, and I get a tear in my eye every single time I watch it. Not a viewing goes by where I'm not, I don't get a little, So that's all I got to say.
Okay. One thing I was sort of finding, and I was like, why is the detective being such a dick to Albrecht? He doesn't be that much of a dick. It's just like, well, Albrecht just was pushing his buttons and sort of winding him up to get you missed.
Like the part where he's like, well, it looks like blood, but I think you'll write it up as graffiti.
Graffiti. Graffiti.
That guy's got a tough job.
I think he hated him. Something happened before the movie started, between those two or something, because that guy hated him like nobody's business. It's so it's funny.
Anyway, what were you about to say, Jay?
Oh no, I was just saying that guy had a tough job. He's probably if any cop is even remotely sarcastic to me or talks back, it's I don't have time for this crap. I don't care. This city sucks.
Yes.
This time's it's he's just done with his job, and it's I don't care. And
and it's morbid,
kind of funny, so it's weird.
The city's morbid. It rains all the time. It can't rain all the time. Well, it does in this movie. The sun's never out. It's always cloudy, and
it's Devil's Night, and it happens every year. So you got to think that they just know that. Fuck it, let the chaos reign. We'll deal with the cleanup afterwards. So I'm sure that they're all over it by the time.
And one last thing I'll say, then you could turn it over to somebody else. Is I always get sad, or I get a tear in my eye too. Do you know the one scene where he's walking and the kids are trick or treating, and he starts laughing, and they do it in slow motion, but then they freeze. I always get sad there because it's I don't know why. It's just such a powerful scene, and
he would have had kids who would have been trick or treating, right?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. It's just a powerful scene, and
it was a happy holiday at one point,
Yeah, because they wanted to get married.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was thinking back about his life with Shelley and everything and what was going to be, and I guess that's what was making him laugh. Yeah, but going back to what you were saying, John, about that opening shot, I love when it just flies over the city, and then you're immediately pulled into hell, and it just feels like hell. You got the fires burning everywhere, and it's just this nightmarish world, and it just feels like that from beginning to end.
It's like Mad Max. It's like a Mad Max.
Yeah,
this is where Mad Max would pop up or something.
Yeah, but
or post-apocalyptic.
Of all the superhero or comic book adaptations, I think this is maybe the most heartfelt. You rarely feel anything watching any of the Marvel movies or anything else. You're like, okay, well, whatever. It's just moving wallpaper for a couple hours and it's entertaining. But for this, and I think it could just be because of Brandon Lee passing away or whatever. But there is that genuine heart to the story as well, where they feel like real people. And it just feels like real stuff that could happen. Obviously, apart from the coming back and avenging people, from the dead, that's not real. But the characters feel real and the bad guys are real. Shut up, Owen. He keeps talking, and I said other people would talk. So I'm going to shut up. Steve, over to you.
I did not see this in the theater. I did like Brandon Lee. I saw Laser Mission. I saw Big Trouble in Little Tokyo a few times. But when I found out he passed away, that pretty much nixed me seeing it in the theater. If you watch the wrestling streams or anything, and J-Man can attest this, I don't like people getting hurt on the job. And I don't like when safety precautions are not followed. I have been on movie sets. Sometimes you see them, they're very good with the rigor. And unfortunately, sometimes they're not. In this case, there was just whatever. It was the property master didn't know what they were doing. They weren't aware that there was a slug in the chamber, and boom. And I'm like, nope. I just don't like that sort of thing. I don't like stuntmen getting killed. I had a problem watching Lethal Weapon because I know one guy actually burned up in the car. I don't like that stuff. So I didn't watch it in theater. I saw it in video and I liked it. And that was the last time I saw it until recently for this movie. for this stream. Sorry. I enjoyed it. I like the fact I draw a lot of parallels between this and RoboCop. They're both set in Detroit. It's both, you know, you got a guy coming back basically from the dead to wreak vengeance on the people who did them wrong. Yeah. Like Detroit.
It's beautiful now. It's a paradise now.
It's a paradise.
Good thing they've cleaned it up. Yeah.
The fact it was raining all the time, I'm like, yeah, it's Detroit. Like whenever I've been there, it's hasn't been sunny a lot. Yeah, there's, and I think they're very like, you know, RoboCop is a very 80s movie where you have the yuppie, you know, upper class and the lower class and the distinction between the two. And this one is a very 90s movie. I agree with that. It's very dark. It's cynical, right? It's just like we're heading to a precipice and we're going to go over and bad stuff is going to happen. I love a revenge tale. This one, he's going after the people who basically killed him. I did feel the ending was tacked on, to be honest with you. I like the idea that his mission was to kill the 4 guys who killed him and his wife or his fiance, and that's it. Like, he didn't really care about who was behind it or anything. He was just there for the 4 guys, and he basically says that. He's like, I'm done after that. And then they sort of said, well, you know, he kidnapped the little girl. And like, you know, like Michael Wincott, you got to have that final, you know, that final showdown. It did feel tacked on to me. I'm very much like, hey, whatever the mission is what the mission is. But I mean, it wasn't bad. It gave him a chance to hang out with Ernie Hudson. I'm sure that's always cool. There wasn't a lot of, like John said, there wasn't a lot of action to this movie. Like, I was expecting more, like, remembering it, I thought there was more martial arts in it, and there isn't. There's that big fight. But it makes sense because other than Tintin, all the other guys he's after suck. They're not fighters, right? Like, they would not have been able to fight. So to me, it makes perfect sense. The only guy who can fight is the dude with the knives, and they have a decent fight. And he fills them full of holes and carries on his merry way. I do find it hard, though, still to watch this movie, and it's just because I know what happened during it. I'm watching the movie, and I'm like, is that him? Or is that the double? Is that Chad Straczynski? Yeah. Is that him? Like, and it's just like this movie will be haunted by the specter of Brandon Lee forever, unfortunately, because of what happened. So it's an enjoyable watch, but it's also a very dour watch for me because I understood what happened during it, and it preys heavily on my mind through the entire film. It actually, unfortunately, in a very strange way, it works for this type of movie. It's actually like apropos, but it's not, to me, that enjoyable a viewing experience. So.
No, I actually do get that, yeah, because you can't separate reality from fiction with this one because it's so prescient with it. I mean, yeah, no, I do get that. I don't feel the ending was tacked on though, because they said it's power we can take from him. So I thought that they could maybe take the power from him before he's gone. So that's why they did it. And but also it just gave him a reason to wrap it up, because I thought, well, yeah, we killed those 4 guys, but if Top Dollar's still in charge, then he'll just find other guys to replace those guys. So you got to cut off the head off the snake. So I totally understand like why I did that. I've never had a problem with the ending. There isn't actually a single scene that I would remove from the film. I think everything is necessary from it, and so it wraps everything up nicely. That's just me. Shut up, Owen. Sorry. Right. Jay.
So I did see this in the theater on opening day. I wasn't old enough, but my friend's parent, we said, we must see this in the theater or else we will like wreak havoc on you forever. So he went and bought the tickets and then let us go in. Right. So, and they didn't really check in those days. Like if a parent bought the ticket, that was good enough. And then he just didn't stay. Like we went in and that was it. Yeah, look, this movie is like a masterpiece. I do think it's perfect. And if I think a movie is perfect, I will say it's perfect. Like Back to the Future is perfect. This is perfect. I saw this movie and this was like one of the movies that was like that after we walked out, we're just like, our lives are now different. And I know that there's like people say, oh, this is a masterpiece. And usually they're bullshit. They're just saying words I don't just say words just to say them. We came out, we're like, oh my God, I can't believe this. This is like impossible. So then I saw it a second time, and then we got on VHS and watched it a million times. My video store across from me was throwing out their standee. I think my cousin might still have it now. I'm gonna ask her. She was just messaging me. I'm gonna see, because I gave it to her because she loved it. We put it in her room. I know this movie had cultural impact. Everybody had black nail polish, doing crow makeup. Like, this was like the goth movie all over the place. Everybody was going goth over this. I bought the cassette tape soundtrack. I bought the CD, of course. I'll buy the 4K. It's coming out. I even like part 2, which we can talk at some other point or later today. I like everything. Like, I mean, even Brandon Lee's hair is awesome. Like, everything in this movie works for me. The silhouette, John has the Diamond Select statuette right there, is bloody awesome. I've not seen any crow thing that doesn't look cool. I do think it's a comic book movie, and I don't know if I would say it's realistic. I would say that, like, it's got this heightened reality, and the fact that, like, everybody is so wicked, like every character, it's not just 4 guys. Each of those guys is a distinctly different character. It feels like, going through a boss fights. Like, I've got to go through all these guys and get to the main guy.
Yeah, the 7 circles of hell.
Yeah. When Brandon Lee is not on screen, it's still awesome. Like, Michael Wincott and his sister or whatever, their entire everything they do and say is so wicked. You're like, oh my God, like these characters are so interesting. Like, I don't know. I can't even find one minor negative thing. I do like revenge movies. The music's awesome. It looks cool. When he got up on that roof and he's running around, I'm like, holy shit, this is the damn best. Like, I'm getting goosebumps right now. I just watched this earlier, and I've seen it 100 times. I'm getting goosebumps right now at how freaking awesome that is. And then he gets the jacket. It's just like, oh man, and it's like that's awesome. Getting the rings. He's like, each one of these is a life that you took away. It's like, that's awesome.
I love how he doesn't look at the ring. I only noticed this time. Sorry, just to interrupt.
Right.
He doesn't look at it. He feels it. And then he feels like
his eyes connected
to it. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
his eyes are
when he's doing, his eyes are fully closed.
Right.
And that one hits him like a bolt of lightning. Just shit, there it is.
Yep. I love all of that stuff. Like, I don't know. I think everything, like, there's not even a bad shot. I love the crow symbology. Like, he leaves the crow marks and whatever, thing he did. Every villain is so cool too. Like, drinking the bullets. That's weird. Like, there's so many other things. Like, you're like, what? I mean,
why would you do that? Just because?
Yeah. Why would you do that? It's
because we're bad guys. We're supposed to be
assholes. And just like, there's so many little, like, I'd have to do a commentary on this movie to explain it. Like, he's there, and then Ernie Hudson's there. He's like, you're still wearing your hat. He's like, oh, like, and I remember thinking, like, why are you wearing? You're at home. You're like in your underwear. Like, why are you wearing your hat?
He didn't realize it. I think he was just like, I forgot it was on.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't even think to remove, and like all the little, and there's a little bit of comedy.
Yeah, a couple of
nice
spots, but not too many. Yeah.
Oh, he goes, well, you go first and take all the bullets, and I'll be right behind you. And he goes, well, that would work, but I don't have my
powers. When he gets shot, he's like, I think I messed that up or something.
Yeah, that was good. No, I also like, they don't do this in a lot of movies. It makes a big difference. It makes a super difference. This is very important. They did it in Superman. They've done it sometimes with Spider-Man. They don't do this. The hero is not enjoying his powers. In The Crow, even though he's there for revenge and it's a dark thing, he is enjoying the power. It's like, go ahead, shoot. Like, soon as he figures out that the first thing he does, it's like he jumps and just
laughing.
It's a beautiful scene. He's like, boom, and he goes, boom, and you're like, he gets up. It's like, ha 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 ha. It's like, yes, I can do anything. He's enjoying the powers. Anytime a hero doesn't want to whatever, it's like like Jessica Jones, for example, is like my absolute worst despised character. I can't stand her. It's like, oh, I don't want to do this. Then get out of here. It's like The Crow. It's like he's lost his love, he lost his life. And he still has time to enjoy the fact that I've got these powers and I can really, mess with these guys too. And I don't know, like, I can't think of a one negative on this movie. It is a 10 out of 10. I mean, it is perfect because like you can make a perfect movie. Like what in your mind, what's not perfect? Oh, it looks the effects look a little weird maybe when he's running or something like. But I mean, I'm sorry,
otherworldly and
like like what is it?
Yeah.
What should it look like? Like what should it look like?
Though makes it work.
Though. Yeah, the city's fake. I got another pet peeve, and then I'll stop talking. Another pet peeve is this, like, oh, the effects look weird. Oh, I'm sorry, because that is exactly what Detroit looks like, right? It's always dark. You can't see shit. This is it's like the entire movie is fake. Like it's a dream. Like this is not a documentary. It's like these movies. It's not a real. It's a real city, but look, it's not. It's like Gotham City doesn't look like that all the time. Like it, The Crow is presenting a painting. It's art. It's like they've painted this world and it's a reasonable facsimile of Detroit. It's like, the effects don't look good.
Yeah.
I mean, what looks good then? It's all fake. Like it's fake anyways. That's the other thing too, right? I hate that. And that goes for modern movies too. If someone's like, oh, this looks fake or whatever, it's like, I'm sorry. Like, have you seen a real like Crow guy with powers? Like, I don't understand. Like, how do you what's your comparison to?
Yeah.
So
I do because I detest CGI, but there's that.
No, but even with the CGI, that's fine. But like this but the CGI usually you don't like CGI when it's in on a live action movie that
takes place in the real world.
Place in the world, right? Not Lord of the Rings,
no,
right?
Or superhero movies, it's fine.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like you're watching an action movie and they're shooting it. It's like fake blood. You're like, oh, that looks fake, right? Because that's supposed to be someone firing a real gun in the real world, hitting a real person in the chest. That's different. This is The Crow. Yeah. The whole thing is fake. Like it's like 300. Oh, someone's like, oh, well, they're not wearing chest plates in 300. Are you crazy? This is not a literal depiction of the battle at Thermopylae. First of all, there's more than 300. There's 1,000 Greeks too. It wasn't just those 300 guys. This is a fairy tale version of this, right? I'm quite sure the Persians didn't have vampires on their team.
They did?
Anyways, sorry.
No, I'm sure. I bet they did.
They did.
Or
yeah. Anyways, there you go.
Yeah, come on.
Oh man.
Hey, right, Charlie.
Oh, it's my turn. I get to go.
Saving the best for last.
That's how it is. I didn't get to see this in theaters. I was 14, so parents weren't letting me go watch an R-rated movie. So this is one of the first ones I rented when I could just go rent movies on my own. So I was about 15 and a half or so, and I rented The Crow. I was the only one home over summer break. I watched it, sat there for a couple minutes, rewound it, and I immediately watched it again. Like I needed to take more of the movie in. It touched me. It was one of these things like, I have never seen anything like this before. This is amazing. I need more. And I've loved The Crow. We covered it last year on the Give Me Back My Action movies. We did it on Halloween, which was great because our episode came out that day. Everything happens on, Devil's Night for here. There's nothing about this movie that I can pick apart. There's nothing about this movie I wish they would change. We've all like talked it up. My one thing that I absolutely adore, we haven't talked a whole lot about, is T-Bird and that car chase sequence. I love every bit of that because Steven's right. None of these guys are going to stand up to the Crow except for Tintin. Tintin was really the only physical threat to anyone.
Yeah,
everyone else
was terrified.
Yeah. They were just
well, and their power was terror.
Yes.
A group of them on weaker people.
They preyed on They preyed on people who couldn't fight back. Yeah.
So by getting T-Bird in his car, his thing he's known for, with all the explosives, all the flammable stuff in there, driving around while you got Skank chasing him around in that fucking little Yugo that is just it's comedy mixed with a kick-ass car chase. And then whenever he tapes him up and he's like, I know you, but you can't be you.
Yeah.
We killed you.
No coming back.
There ain't no coming back, man. He says like a fake Bible verse or something like that. But and then he just launches him out there, and then we get the most iconic flaming crow.
He did that
on
perfectly.
the ground. It's amazing.
It's like, wow,
we never see those parts where he's out there with the gas can.
Or where he took his blood. He actually took his blood. It was like,
I messed up the beak. Oh, there we go. We're gonna fix that.
I have a feeling those things just almost appear.
Yeah,
Not-
it's
I never thought that
supernatural. Yeah, and
he
he's-
is.
No,
he's
I
perfect.
mean,
Like, you know what I mean?
that-
Like it's more like
that's
it's
for
like
the comedy
symbolically
tonight.
happening.
But
Mine would look like a
everything-
pig if I did it. It looked like a potbelly pig or something.
it's just like it's left afterwards. Although I
Yeah.
do love that, you know, he blows up the pawn shop. He gives that guy barely enough time. And that shot, that freaking, we have the clip right there.
Yep.
Look
That's
how
awesome.
close that body is to that explosion out there.
He doesn't care. Yeah, he's just like
That
right there.
that doesn't look like a dummy standing there. That doesn't look
I don't
like
think
a
so.
mannequin. I don't think it is.
No.
I think that's somebody actually taking the blast. They're protected obviously from the face, but that's somebody standing that close to that thing. But yeah, it's just explosions. There's, you get the good gun fight at the end. I love Michael Wincott in this thing. That dude's just greasy as all get out. He's one of my favorite parts of, Alien Resurrection, where he's part of the, the group in that. Yeah. I mean, it's just something about him. I'll agree. I don't look at the ending kind of tacked on. I look at it as he is the actual gun that fired the bullets.
Yeah, he even says that. He said nothing happened.
Yeah, when he tells him, he's like, nothing happened. Yeah,
right.
Nothing
And
happened
he goes,
without my say so. Yeah.
I'm awful sorry that had to happen on your wedding night, but that's how things have to be around here.
And so bring a smile to my face.
It's nothing personal, or they always say that too, and it's like, yeah, it
he's
is.
so
it's very
smooth. He fights with a sword, so there's a sword fight at the end of this thing. Yeah, right.
Like
sword fight
Yeah.
up against the lightning weather vane looking thing that he grabs just to try and fight him back a little bit. An amazing death. Falls off. He basically dies like Gaston does in Beauty and the Beast, knocks him off the building.
But what a great death, though! Great bad death.
It's
where
amazing,
he gives him all the pain that she
all the pain
just for you.
That Ernie Hudson was there to witness for her. He falls on top of that gargoyle and it starts pouring.
Not only, but you see how it's sticking through, but it's also sticking through his mouth too.
Yeah, and the blood is like pouring out.
Yeah, and all the blood's coming out of the gargoyle's mouth and everything. I mean, just visually. And J-Man's right, man. This was like the start of goth. This is when kids went nuts for it. My buddy Ben was like, dude, we got to paint our fingernails. And I'm like, fuck no, we're not.
I didn't
we're
goth when I saw this.
We're the metalheads. We don't go goth, man. We wear black, black jeans and metal t-shirts. That's our aesthetic. Let the other ones that aren't as big as us be the goth kids. I was not playing that game. But I loved it. And obviously I watched wrestling at the time, and Sting, became the Crow, and it was iconic.
Yeah.
And now I can watch this movie and make the joke that the Crow pretty much is RoboCop. I mean, you nailed it, Steven. Two people died. They still put them back to work. They had to go back to work the next day. But
they gave him a year. They gave him a year.
But you have Clarence's gang, and you have Top Dollar's gang. You had going through each one, trying to reclaim your humanity back a little bit or take revenge, however you want to look at it.
I've never thought of that before. Wow,
and then there's one person above all the people that were actually in charge of killing you, but there's one higher up that was actually pulling the strings, which is Dick Jones at the end of Dick Jones's Top Dollar. Not that takes away anything from it, and it took forever for me to ever put those pieces together. And I don't think anything was, literal, like, oh, RoboCop was awesome. Let's make him goth, but it's like J-Man says, this is a perfect movie. This is a masterpiece. It's just enough action. It's got some, feel to it. It feels alive. Like that feels like a universe that we're just peeking into. And that's what movies should be like. We should be like, we're pulling the curtains away and we're watching this little segment of someone's universe. And The Crow feels like that. The first one, anyway. The second one, it's not terrible. Don't go past the second one, pretty much is what I'm going to tell you. But yeah, but nothing will ever top this one. And this made me want to get into more of, Brandon Lee stuff. Unfortunately, there's not a ton.
Yeah.
But I, it was after this that I watched like Rapid Fire, Showdown in Little Tokyo, and I didn't watch Laser Mission for a long time.
Legacy of Rage is good.
I haven't seen that. Honestly,
everybody forgets about that one too. That was this one Hong Kong flick. Yeah. But it's weird to watch it though, because like he's either dumb. Even when in the subtitle version, it's not him. It's some guy speaking,
That's
Chinese.
weird.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
That is
so
weird.
it's kind of weird to watch that.
Probably
And it
because
just-
he sounds very Valley. Because
Yes,
you know,
yeah.
in Showdown, I believe that's exactly what Brandon Lee talks like.
Mhm.
yeah,
and
he
sounds
was
like.
playing
So
that. Yeah,
he
yuppie
had
though,
that
yeah.
that he was
Yuppie
playing
cop.
himself
Yeah.
pretty much in that movie.
Well, they reversed it, right? Like Dolph is more
Yes.
right, like into his cult. Like it's like they it's. I don't want to say
It should be the other way around. Yeah,
juxtaposition of both
Yeah.
characters.
Right. I
Yeah.
didn't want to say the fruits that they're the fruit names, but
We're gonna go
No.
fish off those naked chicks.
but in the Crow, each guy dies by their thing, which is cool. Like
Yes.
RoboCop
Yeah.
didn't do that. Like this is
No,
more
I know
dreamlike. RoboCop's more
It's like
the
a fever
corporate,
dream. It's like
funny,
a fever dream,
stuff
this whole
versus
movie.
like the dream revenge quality of, oh, you use knives? Okay, I'm gonna use knives against you. Oh, you take
Right.
drugs, get high all the time, I'm gonna use you drugs. Oh, you like your car? You're gonna become your car.
Exactly.
Right? Like he has
Well,
to kill the
and
car with them, right? Like it's like
Skank was one of the ones that threw him out the window, and he's the one that gets thrown out there.
Yeah.
But I
Right.
also love that you make the joke that Michael Wincott's like, we're going to have to record this and play it back so we can
That
figure out
was
what the fuck he's saying.
funny.
But then they get done with that gun battle, and Brandon, the Crow's hunting him down, and he goes, "What's up, Skank?" He goes, "I ain't Skank. Skank's over there. Skank's dead."
Yeah.
It's just this little
He's like,
stuff
"Yeah, right."
in there is just so awesome, and then all of a sudden he's flying out of a window. It's amazing.
Yeah. Actually, at some point down the road, we will do a show on rapid fire. Remember, we talked about doing that like last year, and then some other.
Heck yeah,
People-
Al Leong fight, man. Gotta love
Yeah.
that
Oh my
stuff.
God.
Hell yeah.
I have so
Yeah.
much to say about that fight alone.
Yeah, so I got it on VHS right over there, so I will
hell yeah.
watch that at some point. But next week we'll be doing, by the way, the Masters of the Universe, the Dolph Lundgren films. We'll be talking about that, which I think we're all looking forward to. And then the week after that, I'm taking a break. This is my birthday week, and I got some other things going on because I actually do have a life outside of this. And we'll return in the next few weeks. So. Yeah, I do. I'm afraid so. Yeah.
I know I made the RoboCop comparison, but to be honest with you, when I was watching this thing, what was going through my head was Edgar Allan Poe. Like this is a very Edgar Allan.
Then even quoting him anyway.
You heard me.
Yeah, you heard me
right?
rapping.
Yeah. Knocking at the study door.
That's one of my favorite quotes too. He's like, "Yeah, you heard me rapping." Right?
I think that's a reference in the comic too. Like Sean, I'd have to go back and dig and try to find my stuff, but there's a lot of that aesthetic in the.
He just had so many
comic.
good lines in this movie. Like
The
they wrote
script
so
was
many
great.
good lines for him. It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Sean would talk about this better than I would probably, but I think there's an EC Comics definite influence here. Like this definitely feels like something that I would expect to see from that genre. This doesn't feel like an action movie to me. This feels like a horror movie more than not.
Yeah.
That's what Nate was pulling because we played it on our action side, but everyone's like, "Well, this could be horror."
It's an action
and horror.
It's
two genres together.
It's got a
do
horror vibe to it for sure. It's got action in it, but it's definitely a horror story and a horror feel to it.
Yeah, it's like Darkman. It's like, is that action or horror, right? Because it's revenge. That's what
kind of the same aesthetic. A little bit of comedy, some action, people getting killed.
First? Was Darkman?
I think they're both. I think for me, they're both action movies because the viewer is not supposed to be afraid, so it's not a horror movie.
That's another way we talk about things. It's like what makes it a horror movie because gore and blood and shit like that.
It's not scary. Yeah.
Doesn't make
Darkman
horror.
came out in 1990. This came out in 1990.
I was gonna say, was it 90?
Darkman came out.
Darkman.
I saw that in the theater too.
Yeah, very much. It's a Dimension Films release where that was sort of their thing.
Yeah. What did they say? Action horror comedy? What the hell?
There is some comedy moments in it. Yeah,
just a little.
I certainly wouldn't be
It's like
calling
a
it.
little bit.
I don't know if I would have
It's like this. Like,
designated
how
that.
close can I get my thumb and finger together?
No, I don't know about that one.
There's more than once or twice though it happens, so there is some levity, I guess.
I suppose
correct term.
You have to have a little. Like, if this movie just went through the whole thing, like the whole rigors, and like there was nothing to smirk about, it'd be draining. It's like, Jesus Christ.
The way I'm thinking about it is if someone says, "Oh, should I watch what's a good action movie?" Oh, The Crow. What's a good horror movie? Well, I guess The Crow is kind of horror, but it's more action. If someone says, "What's a good comedy?" I don't think The Crow is coming to my mind.
No, I definitely don't think that's
definitely not.
That's not how I would categorize this
Like,
movie at all.
yeah,
Part 3 and part 4, maybe. Yeah, we
Oh, for the
Not
wrong
part 2.
reasons. For the wrong
Part
reasons.
2's
not
part
too
2's even
City of
worse.
The one with Kirsten
Mega
Dunst
agree.
is okay. Like I remember watching it.
That's the Edward Furlong one, I think. is
Eric,
one
no,
with
no, no.
Kristen Dunst.
That one was
No, that's the
afterwards.
fourth one.
Yes, David Boreanaz did it with Edward Furlong, and that movie was a complete shit show.
You mean
And-
Angel, basically?
Oh,
Let's just put
Angel.
makeup on Angel and let him go. Yeah.
But the one before that was kind of okay, and I remember the ending having a pretty decent action sequence, but I haven't seen it. I've only seen
Edward
it once.
Furlong had no business being.
But the last one they
Yeah, that was
did
weird.
with Edward Furlong, it was a mess.
The Edward Furlong one is the third one.
yeah, it's
Are you
third.
sure it's not the last one?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the
I
third.
remember them by how they got their face, how they got their.
I've seen those just once each
Yeah.
time, and I just remember that one being a shit
Yeah.
show, and I was just like, it was just way that. Well, that was like,
Edward Furlong is the fourth. What's the third one? No.
Eric
who's
Eric
the
Mabius.
on?
Eric Mabius and Kirsten Dunst was.
Let me
in
look it up.
One, I believe.
Wow,
Yeah.
that means I've seen 4 of these movies.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that's the
I always
TV
thought it was
show.
the third one.
Let me look.
I'm pretty sure that was the last one.
Yeah, I think you're. Yeah, I remember Eric Mabius was him in one of them.
Yes,
Oh,
Eric
so maybe
Mabius.
that is the third one then.
That's the third one, and Kirsten Dunst was in it.
I think
Oh yes,
so.
that was where he's a prisoner and he gets electrocuted and then the mask forms
Salvation. It's called Crow
Salvation.
Salvation.
the Salvation. Okay,
Okay.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
Edward
one
Furlong's
wasn't
the fourth.
as bad. I remember tolerating that one.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the one with David Boreanaz, it was so hard for me to.
I watched them all one time, probably when they came out, just hoping maybe
Yeah.
this time,
Like,
and I haven't thought about them since. I mean,
no.
I'll watch this one.
You know, I
once
will
a
say
year
that
now.
I was intrigued when Jason Momoa was going to do it. I would have watched the shit out of that one to see what
I
he
would have
was
watched
doing.
their curiosity, but I'm with everyone else going, no, like
No. I mean, yeah, no, absolutely not. But I was intrigued to see what he would have done with it because he's crazy. You know, he would have probably been like this, like amped up,
Just
like
make him
version.
Lobo and be done with it. That's all we want.
Exactly.
Just quit. Just
Hello?
he's already said it. Just let
Well,
him
he's
be
done his
Lobo and be
Aquaman,
done.
so you
Yeah.
know that movie did shit.
And his Aquaman is Aquaman doing a Lobo impression.
Well, it's because I watched a
He's
interview
in
with
Fast 10
him
doing a Lobo.
that he got that phone call from DC, and he's like, "Oh, I know I'm here." He goes in and sits down, and they're like, "Well, we called you.
Aquaman.
Do you have an idea?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm Lobo." And they're like, "Oh no, we're not doing Lobo." He goes, "Then who am I going to play?" And they were like, "Aquaman." And he literally was like, "The fuck?
What? Yeah,
Why
like-
am I
like-
Aquaman?"
Have you guys ever watched The Big Bang Theory with Raj? Aquaman sucks. It's like-
Well, I mean, they've been the butt of the jokes of most things.
I
But
know.
Anyway,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the people making those Aquaman jokes can come against me and I'll destroy their
No.
faces.
No, I didn't say I agreed with it.
They can shut their
I
mouths.
didn't say I agreed with it. I was just
Good.
mentioning it. That's all.
Don't agree with them.
No.
If you're getting your information, don't get information from Big Bang Theory. That's like a literal fountain of
I
misinformation.
was
Everything they
just
say is
making a
rubbish.
joke. It was like they made the joke. I was just bringing it up. But
Yeah.
I love Aquaman. I was freaking 7 years old reading Justice League of America comic books and shit. So.
I liked him when he got his hand cut off. That's when he got the beard. And
Right, that was
everything.
Peter
That-
David's run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my
Badass.
Aquaman. Damn it.
Yeah.
No, but he was badass before that. His kid gets killed. Like,
Listen,
I
the
didn't-
man
I
can
didn't
swim
read
and talk
DC
to.
as a kid.
He's badass. I mean, it's not like he's a pussy. I mean, it's like, come on.
I like Super Friends Aquaman.
no, that's the one they make fun of, Steve.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't care.
hard. Yeah, that's
I don't
hard.
care. I like
He's
him.
still cool.
He's allowed to like it. It's okay.
Riding a seahorse everywhere you go there,
Yeah.
Aquaman. Yeah.
He
Hey,
talks
if you
English,
could ride
bro.
a seahorse, you would too, Charlie. Let me tell you. If you could get it, it'd be like, woo.
Dude, I don't like the fucking ocean, and I don't need to talk to fish. There's shit out there bigger than me, and I don't want to go out there. I hate the ocean.
All right, we're off topic. We're off topic. Woo, woo, warning.
We're 50 minutes in. We're way late on being off topic.
We did make it pretty long before we went on a tangent. I will say that.
It's,
I think
you know,
I started it with my Jason Momoa comment. I'm
7
I
degrees away
apologize.
from the crow. We already got to Jason Momoa. So
I apologize.
Aquaman and seahorses. And,
yeah.
That was my fault. I'm sorry.
Oh, and see what happens when you quit talking.
I gotta.
He's sleeping. He fell asleep. Look at him. He's back there snoozing. J-Man controls everything now, so he's just back there like.
Yeah, I don't even need to show up anymore.
All you got to do is introduce us, and then be like, "Okay, I'll see you guys later."
Yeah, I'll just do my own stream when you're off. Oh, when you're off, yeah, I can schedule it and do a stream.
That's not
actually
true.
You actually could.
That's
That'd be
not
fine.
true.
Yeah, I would
That's
have no
not
problem with that whatsoever.
No,
I actually can too, because if I'm gonna admit on that, I actually can do it. I can just start scheduling them myself.
I bought like a year or two ago the DVD of The Crow, Stairway to Heaven with Mark Dacascos, and yeah, the show isn't great, but Mark Dacascos was really good because he looks just like Brandon Lee, and he's got like the long hair and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's uncanny.
And he does a lot of karate in it.
Yeah, it's like he's got great fight scenes, but like it just looks like a Canadian TV show. It's just like, oh, that's Vancouver. It never looks like it takes place in the world of The Crow. It's just a guy wearing a Crow outfit.
He's just walking around. He's just going to city helping people in distress. It's like, yeah.
So actually, going back to sorry, Adam and Wolverine or Ronnie, I'm pretty sure you are, but
I see. I wouldn't have remembered that. I've only seen it one time. I just remember that who was the stars of it, and then the ending didn't completely suck. That's a lot about it.
But I always thought Fred Ward, whenever he was alive, God rest him, he was the perfect Frank Castle we never got. I always thought he would have been a great Punisher.
Yeah, good lord. When in his prime, hell yeah.
Here's a question for the panel and the chat as well. Are you each movie is a unique person or unique city, or is it Eric Draven is the Crow? I'll say that I like the idea that Eric Draven is complete. I don't think we need to remake it to say Eric Draven's story. That's completely
just do a different person. Yeah,
I do like that in part two. It's a different guy. It's not Eric Draven.
Yeah, his story is complete. Yeah, that was why I had a problem with the TV series. Like his story was told, and it should just be somebody.
We should be following the Crow. The power of the Crow is what we should be following.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what's the point? What was the point of the first one if all of a sudden Eric Draven wakes, oh shit, my dry cleaning, I forgot to pick that up the other day. Let me go get this.
Yeah, the 4K is coming.
They did announce.
They just announced it, so I'm gonna get that soon. So yeah, different Crow.
There was an Image Comics series, I think, where each one was a different person. Yep. The problem with it was that they struggled to figure out like a unique revenge for each thing.
It's like my wife died. Okay, we get it. Or my fiance. Yep, I got it.
There's a woman Crow at one point.
I'm surprised they haven't done that yet for like a movie with everything being turned into like female adaptations. They should do a female Crow.
Which go for it. I mean,
I would have a problem.
It would work in the storyline because, like you said, it just can't. Like if they're going to do this reboot, I almost don't want it being Eric Draven the character.
No,
like just name it something else. Just give us a new Crow movie.
And the
I don't want to see this again.
Yeah, do it as a different character because it's going to be a soulless mess anyway, like most movies these days, which will be forgotten about within a year or two. And it won't live in the memories and hearts of anybody with a fucking brain. But we'll see. Well, you never know. It could be good.
It won't be because the thing is that The Crow is really an art film. And Proyas is like and like Dark City is a bloody masterpiece too.
I fucking love Dark City.
And I saw that in the bloody theater twice. But like, it needs to be a dark dream or a dark fantasy, and for that, it cannot have mass appeal. You can't be like, "Hey guys, let's watch The Crow tonight. That'll be a lot of fun."
It can't be mainstream.
It cannot be mainstream. Yep. So what they do is they're going to spend a lot of money to produce this Crow based on the name Crow, and that only to either not make it appeal to everybody, thus appealing to no one and really weakening the concept, or they're going to make it so awesome that it'll just be for this panel, but it's just not going to make the money back. The conclusion of that will then be, The Crow is not a viable IP, therefore it's not good, therefore we're not doing anything more with this with this thing.
That's the crux of everything now.
That is what it all is.
Said. Yeah, that's the other thing is The Crow, the movie, was lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
We went into this movie knowing nothing. Like, it's an indie comic. It's not really following the comic word for word, though, and panel by panel.
No.
So watching this movie, like I was at 15 going, I have no idea what's about to happen next. Like, it's a revenge story, yes, but as far as everything that happens in the movie, you're glued to it. And that's the problem with the sequels. We now know what the Crow is. We now know that the Crow is literally giving him the power, and you can now take that power away from him. So the rest of the movies are just like, okay, well, let's see what happens now. The first one will always be that. What's happening next? Oh shit! Well, where's it going to go now? Oh shit! He can take the memories and put them into someone. That was mind blowing because we had no idea what to expect. Now we expect it. Then that's the issue. Hollywood can't do that anymore. Hollywood can't take a chance on an IP that they have no idea about and make the Crow again, or whatever you want to call it. But they're too scared because now it's like you just said, the Crow is money, dollar signs to them because it's an IP they own. They know they'll put it out there, and if it fails, no one wants to see Crow movies anymore, and they'll put it in a vault somewhere forever.
Yeah.
That's
exactly what. Yeah, it won't succeed because they don't want to make a movie that doesn't have mass appeal. Yep. So unless it's going to be a $50 million or $100 million, whatever's cheap to them, it needs to be something like that. And then some auteur guy has to come in and make it 100 minutes because it's a revenge tale. Why would it need to be longer? It's like really amp up the dreamlike qualities or
Guillermo del Toro could do it.
Sorry?
Oh,
Guillermo del Toro.
I'll take a stab at this.
Yeah,
like, I'm afraid that
none of us mentioned that Candyman is in this. Tony Todd.
Yeah, he's so cool in it.
Yeah. He's just in the back but he's more prevalent towards the end of the movie, But before that,
except when they tell him to watch Skank, and he literally straddles Skank.
Yeah,
he's like on the table. You're just like, I don't think Top Dollar meant it that literally, man. He's like, nah,
let me look
watch
right
your ass.
Actually, just going to Adam's choices here for what the fuck would I go? Yeah, Maggie Q, Lauren Lavera, or Catherine Winnick. Actually, Maggie Q would be great. I love Maggie Q, and she'd actually be a great female girl. I would watch that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we all met Lauren, or Steve and I met Lauren.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Actually, Taylor Kitsch. Yeah.
Taylor Kitsch would have been great 10 years ago when they were trying to make him
when they were trying to make him a star. Yeah,
I'm still a fan of Taylor Kitsch. I like his movies. John
American Assassin
was a great movie.
I enjoyed Assassin. I'm really sorry. Good. It was complete. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
He's like one of the good things in X-Men Origins because he was a halfway decent Gambit. I would have watched a movie with him being Gambit, but Hollywood fucked up using him.
Yeah.
Oh God.
See, if that's already something that you're going to fuck up the entire purpose of the Crow. Like,
listen, the problem with, and if I was Bill Skarsgård, I would not have taken the role because, is it just going to be him trying to mirror what listen, we all know Brandon Lee died, but before he died, he gave a pretty fucking great performance. So it's like, is he going to be just trying to channel Brandon Lee?
I bet
he's
he'll
going to be a total
disaster.
Or you're just going to be watching this movie going.
I think he'll ignore it. I don't think.
Do you think he's going to?
I think what the studio's going to say is, this ain't the Brandon Lee movie. Don't. Like they tell most people, don't read the book, don't read the comic, don't do any research on it. Here's the script, here's the lines. Do your thing. That's what's going to happen.
I wish I can get a job like that. You don't need to train. You don't need to learn anything. Just show up and we'll tell you what to do. And then I'll just type on a computer all day. And
but I mean, watch some of these interviews. That's what
I know. That is what they're told.
That's exactly what they're doing. Not
Why
just
did the movies come out so bad, Charlie? Why do you think?
Oh, I don't know. That they have years and years of information and a guideline. When you literally have a guide on what to do to succeed. Nah, I'm gonna make it my way.
Well,
here's a comic book. Comics, not for losers.
Exactly.
That's for children.
Toss it in the fire. Right.
They're not in the movie making business. I've said this before. I'll say it again.
Oh, they're making money.
These corporations who own these studios are not movie making. Like the original studios, like MGM, which Warner Brothers, all those guys. Their jobs were making movies. Their jobs were not other things, and movies were an arm of their empire. Their empire was making movies. That's what they did. And these things are just arms of larger conglomerates. They don't give a rat's ass. They're not there for the history of movies or to continue to make great things. If they aren't making good movies, and they aren't, right? They're panicking because they don't know why aren't people liking these things anymore. We're throwing a lot of money into it, right? We're using popular IPs. Why are people not going to movies? Well, because they want good movies. But
they're hiring idiots.
Yeah, but how do you tell that to a Coca-Cola executive? How do you tell that to the guy who owns Verizon? How do you tell that to the guys? These guys are not movie people. They aren't. Movie making is an art. It's a craft. It's an industry. It's its own thing. You have to be dedicated to it. And none of these people are dedicated to it. They're just sitting there hoping that if they throw more and more money into something, something will hit. They have zero idea what they're doing or why something is successful. The Barbie is a perfect example. Barbie hit. What happened? They licensed all these frigging like toys. Is that why Barbie was a success? I don't know why Barbie was a success, but is that why
the name Barbie?
Because it was a toy, because it was a powerhouse, and they got the name.
There you go, man.
Oh dear.
I watched it the other night because I never watched it, and I was like,
did?
"Fuck it, I'm going to watch it." And I was like, "Wow, okay."
Was it great? Did you love it? Are you gonna buy it?
I made it to the end because like the
Did
first
you
time
buy
I
it?
turned it off after 15 minutes, and then like my buddy's girlfriend looked at me as if I just shot a puppy in front of her whenever I said I turned it off. She, "You need to watch it all," and I was like, "Do I though?" Because it just seems like a 2-hour preachy message, and that's exactly what it was. And it's like,
wow,
yeah,
and it's and the message doesn't make sense in its own movie, and also it's literally a lie. It's like, look, it's all the Mattel heads and they're all men, except that's literally a lie. And anyone with a phone can look it up and be like, oh, there's women on the board. And we've handled it for 35 years in a time period where it's unheard of for a woman to be the head of this big thing. And she was the head of it.
Well, in the 80s, it was headed up by a woman too. I remember.
I always forget that.
She bought the license for Cabbage Patch Kids. Other things. Yeah.
You watched that The Toys That Made Us.
The Toys That Made Us.
Right. Thing about it.
Right. So that's a propaganda movie because it's literally saying it's the real world, and then they lie to you because they feel like, oh, people will be too lazy to check. And then America Ferrera, whatever her name is,
her speech at the end.
I have it on my desktop. Yeah. I have the entire speech on my desktop. I dismantled the crap out of it. And the last time I did this was about 15 years ago with this other speech on this other movie. But I dismantled, and I'm debating. It's like, yeah, I make that video, buddy. And I'm like, oh, do I really need to have all this drama? And I'm like, but you love this kind of stuff. You love
that. I was going to say, you love that
argue, J-Man. You want to do it.
I don't know. Maybe I'll do it, but I have destroyed it like beyond anything. And I'm like, just wait. It'll be like a half-an-hour video of me destroying that stupid speech.
Wow. I'll probably never watch the Barbie movie then.
Watch the speech, John.
I'll just watch the speech. I'm gonna go watch the speech.
I don't even want to watch speech. Like, like I got enough grief, man.
That's the thing. It's basically men are awful.
I don't need to like further make it like.
Well, yeah, we're the bad guys and everything. I mean, hell, even the Oscars proved Barbie wrong. That Ken got the fucking Oscar director and Margot Robbie didn't get shit.
Doesn't he get the arc in the movie? Like he has,
yes,
right? That's the argument. Maybe I might watch it just to see what's going on. But
Margot Robbie is an awesome. I loved her in I, Tonya. I seen that a couple of times. I bought that on Blu-ray. I thought she did great on that. She's good. But in this movie, she doesn't act. The whole point is that she's just the Barbie doll. At the very end, she gets like a little epiphany at the end. It's like Ken goes through stages of development. His character changes. And this movie was nominated for like 7 Oscars, which is preposterous. This is
preposterous. Barbie movie, yeah.
The only thing it should be nominated for, which I would say would be set design. Would be that because
for the first 10 minutes.
And then the rest of it, I don't care. But like, it's not funny. Like people are like, oh, the movie's fun, and I was like, no, it's not. Like,
the Oscars is plunging itself further into irrelevance. It's like the Barbie movie is like this, and like they'll make a history book, and it's like in 2024 The Barbie got 7 Oscar nominations.
It's literally
Yeah.
we're watching them eat themselves now.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Well, if you watch
that's what we're watching right
literally
now.
what's happening.
if you look at the nominations for the Oscars, you think like 13 movies came out last year. You know.
Oh yeah, you don't see.
It's like
Yeah,
Why was it
everything.
Godzilla -1?
Yeah,
nominated
no
for
international
Best
movie
Foreign
for
movie?
Godzilla
What
minus
the
one.
No,
Fuck off.
it
we
got-
have a variety of
it got-
American.
nominated for special
It
effects.
got nominated
Yeah.
for what? Special? Yeah.
Special
whoop-de-doo.
effects.
Okay, no shit. Duh.
Mm.
It's like thanks.
Right, we've gone
Well, I
way
mean-
off.
Yeah. Well,
Shut up.
somehow we've
Okay,
gone
back to
from
The
the
Crow.
Crow all the
Okay,
way to
so-
Barbie.
Who likes? Okay, do you want to talk about part 2 for a bit? Or
I
Before
don't
we get to
remember
that, though,
part two
I
to
just want to
talk
show
about.
something which I thought was quite cool. Was the artwork for Bradley Cooper as the Crow, which
Oh,
he was
interesting.
really going to do.
Right.
And I thought, actually, I wouldn't have
hate it.
minded that because A, he's a good actor.
He is.
Yeah.
And the idea of Jason Momoa playing him, I was like, no, because he's fucking huge. And
Yeah,
then,
he would be
you know,
a
it would just be like a
steroided
bear
out
throwing people
Crow.
around, whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
But
not
it's
that
the
Jason
idea
Momoa
of
does steroids, but
a normal-
The Crow could pick a guy that lifted weights when he was alive.
1 second. Go ahead.
What? Right. Like, fuck, I forgot what I was fucking saying.
You say he's too big, throwing people around.
Yeah, and the whole thing about the Crow is that is like as a normal guy given supernatural powers, and that's where he gets the strength from. But you know, if it's Jason Momoa, you're just like, well, he's fucking huge. He could just throw anybody around anyway. He doesn't need the Crow, except apart from being dead.
right.
But he wouldn't have. But the other thing is, he wouldn't have been taken out as easy. Remember,
Yeah.
Eric Draven had a life before he was the Crow. They need to be regular people who are just in love and trying to do something nice for their little neighborhood, get the petitions, all that. It can't be this big, huge guy because this big, huge guy is not going to go down easy. They're not going to send basically 4 idiots, drugged out guys to take out a Jason Momoa person. You know what I mean? Like that they wouldn't intimidate them. They went there to intimidate them, beat them up. Went too far. They killed them, raped the girl. It's like, that's not going to happen if Jason Momoa's hanging around. They'll be like, well, we're going to need to have an army. So that wouldn't work either.
He'd get a seahorse to go after them. So, yeah, there's been like so many iterations of like a remake or reboot of the Crow. There's like Bradley Cooper and whatever else, and it keeps failing. Like I know that this one the remake is supposed to be out this year at some point, but I don't know. I'll be surprised if it ever actually happens. I just feel like Destiny does not want this movie to be made. And they should just leave it because nobody's really asking.
Hopefully, it's Brandon Lee stopping it somehow. Just the spirit of Brandon Lee's just like, no, fuck it. Just leave it alone.
Yeah, I already died making it. We don't need to do it again. You're not
Right? You guys have had 5 chances to do it right. You're done. Go home. You were finished with it.
Who's cast as the Crow? Do you know?
Bill Skarsgård.
Bill Skarsgård.
Oh, okay.
Let's go from it. Yeah, a sniper from like a rooftop or something. Yeah.
Snipe them. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so just going back to some of these comments here. They're into commerce. Yeah.
That was that
money laundering. I mean, Godzilla -1 territory to make cash without costing the GPU and major. Yeah, exactly. and both of them are better than most of the blockbusters.
You have to think that. You have to think that where is this money going in some of these movies? Like it's not on screen.
Well, a lot of it goes to the actors. Like
Yeah.
if you have Tom Cruise in your movie, he's making 30 million right there for the
Well,
frickin'
it
movie.
looks to all the world like it's laundering.
It really does. I mean,
it's like, oh, this movie cost $230 million to make. Did it though, or did you scooch all your earnings into this thing?
Right? Did you lose too much money over here, and now we gotta shuffle and play the card tricks here?
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone
animated Crow. That's not a bad idea.
What was the budget on the Crow? Did anyone?
Hold on.
Hang on, I got the IMDb.
Wasn't that much.
About it.
Well, Miramax had to put $8 million more into it. I think it was 23, and when it was
23 million. Yeah, 15 million initially, and then 23 million. Yeah.
And it made 94.
After
it made
Brandon
50 million. It made its money back.
After Brandon Lee died, the producers said we're not releasing this film. Miramax scooped it up and put another $8 million into it to get it finished.
for the
Yeah.
final FX and to do the face
I
overs and
remember
stuff.
they digitally inserted Brandon Lee's face in some scenes,
and they did a good job because like there's some scenes I know where it is, but you can't. It doesn't look fake.
At the
like,
top of the building.
Yeah,
when he first puts on
the
makeup,
strike.
And the crow cuts on his shoulder, and you see him looking out the window. That's not him.
Yeah,
and like when she runs up to give him a hug, that's not him either.
Yeah.
And there's just
the broken mirror was used to kind of distort the overlay.
Yeah,
but they did a
fadeaway
good
shot of him standing just in the window where he was thrown. That is an overlay. I mean, you really got to hunt it, and honestly. People really had to tell us where a lot of them were. You know,
I still can't tell.
This was on VHS when we were watching it too earlier, so you didn't see shit when it was on VHS.
Yeah,
you know,
I can't tell. I can't. You just all telling me now. I just watched it. I still can't tell.
Like like when they implant his face like digitally, it's
I can't tell. Like whatever you just named, I was thinking back and I cannot tell.
Sometimes when they do that in movies, you're just like, "Holy cow!" I could totally tell that's not.
I think I'm too into like I think this movie. I don't know who said it. Somebody said it draws you in from the very opening minute, like from the very first second you're in the Crow, and you're like, "That's it, I'm in." And then you're in and you're out, and you're like, "How long was that? That was so short." And that's why Charlie, you're saying you watched it again.
Exactly.
Sorry, Owen.
Yeah, I didn't even pause it. Like a lot of times, I'll pause it. I'll have to go to the bathroom or whatever. Didn't pause it. Sat there right there, and I was just like.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You know, you're just totally.
You're watching it like almost in a trance. You know, it just draws you in. I mean, it's just like I couldn't even tell you how long the movie is without looking.
I have no idea.
Right,
I think 45.
Yeah, I mean, so it could have been 2 hours.
Yeah,
it could have been an hour and 20 minutes. I wouldn't have been able to tell you. It's just like I am here, and it's perfectly paced.
Yeah, perfect.
That's another thing about this movie is it's just. There's nothing wasted.
Nothing unnecessary.
Nothing unnecessary. Nothing wasted. We need every scene. We need every exposition to push the story along. That is like, in J-Man's opinion, where something makes it a masterpiece, a perfect movie.
And the characters are all interesting. Even like for whatever reason, it's like there's no character where you're like, oh, like
Chad is.
Yeah.
Yes, Chad Stahelski. Yes, he was he was a stuntman. Yeah. But let me say this: there's an aura of this movie because of Brandon Lee's death, and that's what the guy was arguing with me, like because he was saying like if he had not died making this movie, we would not be talking about this movie today. Yes, we would, because it's a fucking good movie, and even if he didn't die making it, he did a great job doing it, and the whole movie would have been good. Would it have been better? Probably, because he filmed all of his scenes. We would have gotten even more of his acting.
Well, we got everything that was Brandon Lee in this movie, though.
Well, yeah, but
nothing would have changed other than a few shots.
Well,
because the movie was done except for key scenes.
There would,
I forget how much up closes and stuff like that. Well,
but even if he didn't die, we would still be talking about this movie 30 years later, and
obviously
it was exactly.
That's such a stupid fucking point to make, though. It was like,
it is.
Well, if he didn't die, he did die. So
Yes, he did. Unfortunately, and it's the saddest thing ever. And we can't rewind time. We can't build a time machine and go back, and and it fucking sucks. But
they make these arguments because we can't prove them wrong.
No, I can. I can prove them wrong
in their mind.
I can prove them wrong
for arguing this stuff. Going, well, we're only doing it because he died. In their mind, it's because you can't prove me wrong because you can't bring him back to life.
Right.
Yes, we can tear them apart on logic, but in their mind, when they're trolling and doing this shit, you can't, though. And honestly, you spend more of your time fighting them, because at the end of the day, they're still going to be like, fuck it, I don't give a shit.
I said one thing and then deleted them. I'm like,
it's not worth the energy.
When that movie came out, everybody at school was talking about it, and nobody was talking about Brandon Lee's death at all. Everyone was talking about how awesome that movie is. My cousin saw it. She doesn't know who Brandon Lee is.
There you go.
Tiffany's like way younger than me. She doesn't know any. She doesn't, even if I said, oh, it's Brandon Lee, who's that? Oh, it's Bruce Lee's son. Bruce Lee. Yeah, I think I know who that is. That would be my cousin at that time. She was way younger than me. She loved it.
I would have disowned her, by the way, if someone said, I don't know who Bruce Lee is.
Well, she would know now.
Right now.
No, she would have been 11.
That's still not good enough.
But like,
He's old enough, damn it.
he didn't win an Oscar for it or anything. Like the thing is like they're trying to say, even with Heath Ledger that passed away for Joker or whatever. It's like, yeah, but The Crow was an awesome movie because of Brandon Lee and everything that happened in it, and Brandon Lee's the star of it, and it all is good. It's a great movie that everyone really liked. The Dark Knight Returns or whatever. The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight. I keep thinking The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger is a small part of that, and he won an Oscar, and that's fine. But it's like, you know, you can make an argument maybe for that, even though he is really good as the Joker in that movie. So this is a Brandon Lee movie. Like, he's all over it. It's his movie. He is the main guy. He's the best guy in it. Like, this isn't like, I can't think of like another example. Like, oh, like Harrison Ford died on, you know, Temple of Doom or something. Oh, that's the only reason anyone talks about Indiana Jones. Or it's like, no, Indiana Jones is awesome. Like, if he had died on Raiders, you wouldn't be like, well, we're only talking about it because it's because he died. It's like, no, it was awesome anyways.
Yeah.
Like, it was a 10 out of 10 movie whether Brandon Lee lived or died.
Right.
Like, what is it? What does that have to do with it? Okay,
the
so
death doesn't make the movie.
Hey,
yeah.
J-Man, if I ever get somebody, I'm just gonna send him over to you. Be like, J-Man,
send everybody to me.
I'm too
all of them.
I'm too mentally and physically exhausted. Right.
Just have his link in the notebook and just copy paste his link under their comments.
Be like,
here.
I've done that. I just did that the other day. I said, please join me on this stream and talk to me about it, but they didn't join.
Let me introduce you to my friend J-Man. Here you go.
So, is anybody else have anything to add about the Crow that we've not mentioned? You had some notes, Jay? No?
I'm just looking to see if we missed something that I thought of. Talk about the music, obviously.
Yeah, no, see, Alex, this is the point I was making earlier. It does add an atmosphere to the film, sadly, but the movie sounds on it. But it gives it the extra heart to it. It just makes the sadness real and the tragedy of the character real, because it makes Eric Draven and his tragedy feel real because of what happens to Brandon Lee in real life. So it does give it more emotional heft, but it's still there anyway, just because of the performances, the beautiful score. Yeah, exactly. Look at Paul Walker and Fast and Furious. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And really, they shouldn't have done any Fast and Furious movies after he passed away. They should have finished with 7, and that should have been it.
Yeah, that was like the perfect ending to that franchise.
Yeah.
Like where they say goodbye to him, and then it's like, no, let's make some more money. Okay.
They keep acting like he's alive. That's really the big problem.
They keep talking about bringing him back. I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
You should have killed him off. Just if you want to keep making movies, kill off the character. You're keeping him alive, and we all are sitting there going, no,
where is he?
Fucking dead. Yeah.
It's funny that like his wife comes back to help them. I'm like, but he's babysitting. He's taking care of the kids. Honey, you go help your brother out. Go like almost kill yourself. I'll be over here watching the kids. It's like, wow. I'm like,
why are we hiding death? Why are we hiding that as though it's not a thing that we have to live with by just being here on this planet? Like this happens with Chadwick Boseman. Oh, we can't recast it. It's like, listen, these things live on. I mean, you know, Fast and the Furious, okay, it's a cheesy franchise, but it lives on. Yeah. People want, for whatever reason, they want to see more, they make their money, whatever. And Paul Walker passed away. It sucks. Yeah. He was cool. I like Paul Walker, but he's dead. What do you want me to do? Like, that's it. We're wiping it all off the board. They could have started the next movie with a funeral and just say, he was a great guy and, it's unfortunate. That's the end of it. And then continue it on. I mean, and if it's a character that matters, like James Bond, you don't kill him, right? You recast him. If it's a character like Chadwick, like Black Panther, you recast
5 times. We would have been okay with it. Just recast it.
But I mean, writers in Hollywood these days are emotionally immature, and that's their adoption.
Yes, people have had no worldly experience.
There's no worldly experience. And their adoption of the W stuff and their refusal to accept death. Like it's all. This is stuff you expect from like a immature 14-year-old, right? Instead of a hired, trained, paid professional whose job is to write this stuff.
Right. But I would even argue that for like our generation, at 14, we were experiencing death through like our comic books and through, stuff that we were reading and things like that. I mean, the death of Superman was a huge thing that happened. I mean, we're actually killing off characters. So it's like we have a little bit of weight to that. But now that obviously these generations aren't reading this stuff. They're not living the same childhood we did. So now they're just go make a movie, and now they just go off of this is how I feel, and this is what I want to put out there. This is I know that exists somewhere, but that's not what I would want to do with it. Let me do this with it now.
But Charlie, kids these days and young people, you're seeing this, are so protected from everything. They're protected.
Oh, they are.
Every single thing.
I have to watch myself as a father to not overprotect my kids.
Yep.
I'm a little tougher on my kids, but I also expose my kids to things out there to prepare them for the world. And then they'll talk about a lot of their friends where it's like, what, do they live in a fucking bubble? Like, what is going on? Like the world, we're screwed when we retire. Seriously.
That's the real horror movie.
Yeah.
That's the real horror movie.
When we retire.
I can't even afford to retire. I will die.
Oh, neither can I.
They'll
Yeah.
still make me work.
working.
They'll reanimate my corpse to continue working.
Yeah. You're gonna have to
Clear.
electrocute me.
He's back. We can get another few days out of him.
Start typing again.
Yeah, hold on. There's still around everybody's an insult is mirror, but exactly, by letting them rest. Not accepting it. Yeah,
I agree with that. That's the issue of it.
Yeah. Now, I was watching the Star Wars theory earlier, and he was talking about, how Gina Carano was like suing Disney, which and she's like being financed by Elon Musk. I'm like, and I think Elon Musk like thinking of buying Disney. I was like, yes, buy them and then fire everybody, and then make good Star Wars again, and then erase like Dial of Destiny from canon and all that stuff. It'd be great. But there was a point I was going to make. Yeah, that's what it was. Because the theory was saying how he said these people who were like against Gina Carano or whatever else, and I was like, they're in this little bubble. They're like, there's living in this little village, which is surrounded by like a plastic bubble, and like everything's nice and bright and all sunshine and lollipops. And then they go out into the real world and they're like, yeah, guess what? The real world fucking sucks. It ain't all sunshine and rainbows. And so on, as Rocky said.
They live in little bubbles in their social medias. They live in little bubbles of their groups and their own little perfect worlds. And then when we see the videos of when they have to go out and interact with people like us, and they lose their shit because
and they get their teeth kicked in.
Yeah. Let's bring back punching people. Can we do that?
I never stopped.
Jesus.
I listen. When I was younger, we were made fun of for liking this stuff, and that toughened me up. These guys on Facebook saying, "Oh, you're an idiot." Oh no, I'm an idiot. Well, that compares to the time where I had a knife put to my throat in class. So yeah, I think your little insults aren't gonna mean anything to me. Like,
I told you to think I would last that long.
I do.
Maybe 15 minutes.
I might last an hour. I
think instant gratification is bad too. I don't like this. Yeah. Get the entire season of a show, in one. Yeah. It's like you can't live with stuff anymore. No. Like I like if you look at like the first episode of Next Generation, I use this analogy on one of my other streams. The first episode of Next Generation and the last episode of Voyager, right? That was those three shows: Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Next Gen. Were all kind of on around each other.
Yeah,
that's like 15 years or something or whatever.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's like your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
If you're 15 on Next Generation and you're 30 at Voyager, you're like, wow, Star Trek has been with me my whole life, and I love Star Trek. The problem is now you get 10 it's only 10 episodes or whatever, and they dump it all, and then you watch it in a night or two, and then it's gone. And then you just want the next thing. There is no time for new fandoms because there's no time. I can't get excited for this show because I have to binge the crap out of it, quickly go on. Owen has to quickly go on Action Flicks. Charlie has to quickly do a podcast. I have to quickly do a video. Sean has to quickly read the thing and post the thing, right? We all have to do this so fast, and you're like, yeah, but now I just consumed this and I didn't even have a chance to enjoy the thing. Like we're rewatching Daredevil.
Then on to next content.
Yeah, right. We're watching Daredevil now on the Netflix one, and we're doing one episode a night, and even that seems fast. And it's like 2 weeks. I was like, wow, that was a fast season. I'm like, wow, that was 13 episodes, but I felt like it went fast. I'm like, well, because that would have taken me 13 weeks in the old days.
You don't get to marinate on what happened in an episode.
Yeah.
That's the word.
And I'm guilty. We're not going to sit here and go, I never do this.
No.
I will sit there and watch 3 episodes of a show I absolutely love. and then I'll be like, what the fuck happened in the second episode? What was actually
That's
going
why I
on there?
That's why I liked Reacher. I was like, oh wait, you got to wait till next week. Holy shit! What?
Then we talked about it.
Yeah.
Like then it's like, oh man, that was awesome. Did you see that? Because like at the office, we're like, oh man, last week that was crazy. Like what the heck's happened? You talk about it all week.
Yeah.
Then it comes on Friday, and then that's something you're looking forward to. Oh yeah, Friday. This is going to be Reacher.
Now we get to talk about it again. Yeah.
Then talk about it again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not to look forward to something.
There's nothing to look forward to.
That's Marvel on the phone for J-Man. They have his number.
Yeah.
We've made sure.
Anytime I do streams, it's like I don't know. I just keep getting messages, and then I know people who aren't watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't get me that again. I
know I can't get you on.
I got to remember when you're on. I'm sorry.
No, Charlie's messaging. I'm like, hey, you're not watching the damn stream. What the hell? And then he quickly popped in.
I was early, bitches. I was there. Then he tried to bust me out. Go, well, Charlie's already left. And I was like, ha! No, I didn't. I'm still here.
Legit got me on that one. Legit got me on that one.
This is actually a good point. The problem with most modern TV shows, especially streaming TV shows, is that the shows are overly serialized. I mean, the more episodic nature of TV.
Yeah, one and done. Like each episode was one plot.
Everything requires homework now. It's like like the Marvels. I haven't watched yet because I need to watch Ms. Marvel and
don't watch
Marvels. Whatever. So I like shows where I can just watch an episode and that's it. Like an episode of Columbo or something like that.
Yeah. Magnum PI, 18.
Like the 18. They kicked the crap out of the bad guy, and then next week it was a new bad guy.
Well, they had to do that back in the day because not everyone could have watched the episode beforehand.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, they stretch it a little bit with a two-parter, and then the cliffhanger at the end of a season to get you to come back.
And I think it should be a law that you can only end with a cliffhanger. Your season can only end with a cliffhanger if you definitely know you're coming back the next season.
No, that's never gonna be full.
I know, I'm kidding. No, I kid.
Well, it's because serialized. Serialized for us growing up was soap operas, and that's kind of what a lot of this shit has turned into.
Watched the crap out.
Is just one drawn out storyline. It's like a soap opera now, and that's where we get filler shit. Like I don't understand what the hell's going on here now. But The Crow's an amazing movie.
Yes, it is. Damn near perfect.
Yeah. But at least if you're watching at home, you can like pause it and go to the bathroom and things like that. But I'm not going
to turn it off and watch it again the next day or something. You have to watch it. Nobody says you have to binge it. You can actually watch an episode and be like, I'm going to eat.
I mean, I don't really binge. To be honest, I mean,
I binged Reacher a little bit. Like I watched the first 4 episodes in one day, and then I waited for the last 4 to come on, and I like binged the last. I'm like, I can't do it. I got to just because it was that good. I was that into it, so I was like.
But if the Crow was a show, if this movie was a show, each guy would be an episode. It would be him, and then it's like, oh, I killed Tintin. Okay, fine. And then it's like, and it would just be one. It'd be like 5 or 6 things, and it's like you lose people along the way, and you can't rewatch it. Some of the shorter shows, like I did watch One Piece twice. I could definitely do Reacher a second time. It's pretty short. But even Reacher, both seasons probably could have been 6 episodes.
You could have condensed some of it out,
right. Like, but it's not boring or anything like that. But again, when you got one idea and you got to make a 45-minute program from that one idea, it's like, okay, you got to come up with a lot of cool stuff for that one idea, and then remember, you got to come up with another new idea next week, and it is tougher. That's why sitcoms were so tough, right? Like.
That's where filler comes from. You now are forced to put in filler to pad out the time of it.
Like season 2 of The Mandalorian had like so much filler. When really probably should have just been a movie or whatever else, but
or half a season or something.
Anyway, so does that wrap up The Crow then? I think
sure.
Well, it's 9:30, so we're all going to turn to pumpkins shortly in Canada.
It's only 8:30 where I am. Sorry.
So, all right, we'll jump off, and next week we'll be back at the same time for Masters of the Universe, Dolph Lundgren, which we're all looking forward to. So, we shall see you then. Does anybody have any cool shows coming up this week before then?
It's the month of Pete. Although he started on a banger. We watched a movie called The Seventh Curse with Chow Yun Fat. It's on Tubi. Boy, I recommend that movie. It's not quite horror, more action, but it's bloody, boobs, everything you want in a movie. So it was really good.
Yay, boobs.
Yeah, boobs. Get that on a shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, what do we do? We're continuing our Daredevil stuff every Friday on my channel. So Frank Miller's Daredevil. This week we have a lot of Elektra. If you're a fan of Elektra, crap, this is the week to join. It's like it's all fighting ninja. It's all hand Elektra stick. If you like the Daredevil TV show, which is it should have been retitled Frank Miller Presents Daredevil.
Yep.
But they didn't put Frank Miller's name at the friggin' front of it. They should have zoomed in Frank. Like reading these now, that entire show, every detail is Frank Miller. It's disgusting that his name is not front and center. Anyways, whatever. I'll rant about that tomorrow.
Actually, that's a good point. Actually, Charlie's OnlyFans, yeah.
I stopped. There's just not enough content. I require constant gratification.
Sorry, man. I can't do this daily. Jesus, you log in every day.
God.
Come on, man. I gotta breathe, man.
Can't all be beard porn.
Oh God. That is not a phrase I needed in my head today. Yo.
Oh, please.
And on that classy note, we always end on a classy note, which I like here.
I like it.
That's important. So we'll be back next week, 8:00 for Masters of the Universe. So we will hope to see you then. And thank you all for tuning in. And if you haven't watched The Crow, go watch it because it's awesome and literally one of my favorite movies. Thank you guys for joining me. And if you are watching, remember, you are the action lead.